Dan Campbell, in his press conference yesterday, said he wasn't sure yet what his plan was for the starters. They got the Chiefs coming up on Saturday, preseason game 2. I believe it was expected that the Chiefs would have some of their starters playing, maybe with Marquise Hollywood Brown going down with an injury, because it's just another football season and Marquise Brown is injured. Maybe they don't play their starters, but Dan Campbell's thinking about it. They really only have one other quarterback. Actually, we'll get into the quarterback discussion, but that might – do you think they should play their starters in the preseason week 2? What's your opinion?
You know what? It's 3 preseason games. It's a lot more regular season games. I think that changes the level of importance on those games, especially on those preseason games for the starters, especially with how much work they put in during the off season, even before training camp starts. Yeah. We know that these guys are already working to build up their chemistry and to be in tune and to be in lockstep. And then when they go to training camp, you're seeing these things. And I definitely want to hear JB's first eye report. But you're hearing the reports of these guys going out there and looking like they're in sync. Then you hear about the reps that they're running against the other teams, like the Giants in practice as well. And you're seeing Jared Goff on a dot. Oh, Jared Goff again. Oh, David Montgomery. You're seeing it. You're hearing it. The reports are that this offense is a well-oiled machine already. And Dan Campbell said, look, we already get to see this offense when we do have these joint practices. So he places a large level of importance on what he's seeing and what they're doing in these joint practices. I guess as much as he would if they got some preseason
Unfortunately,
experience.
they don't have any more. And I love the concept of the joint practices. Yeah. Didn't seem like the ones against New York were very productive. It seemed like it was just a melee from start to finish Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. So Kool-Aid and KG, to me, it's about injuries and injury concerns. Even after the first preseason game, this team is beat up. Hooker, Fountain, and Green, they all got a concussion. Rodrigo missed practice yesterday. James Houston, Ali McNeil, Levi O, Taylor Decker, Zeitler, Laporta. To me, it's about injuries. If they feel comfortable with the first-team offense or defense, where do you stand on playing all starters, some starters, KG, no starters?
Yeah. And you said there's no more joint practice. I thought they had one with the Steelers coming up.
I don't think it's a joint practice. They only had one officially scheduled with the NFL. They're allowed up to 2. I just don't think they did it.
Got it. Okay, got you. When you throw in the injury concerns, it does make me think a little bit differently. I'm more of the old school mentality. I don't think it hurts because, you can get injured anywhere. You can get injured in training camp. You can get injured in OTAs. You can definitely get injured in the preseason as we saw, but injuries happen. You can't be too scared to run your guys out there just because of the risk of injury. But you look at kind of what the Kansas City Chiefs did. I think they played their starters for almost a whole quarter. I would maybe do it for 2 drives in the final game, just the first 2 drives of the game. Let the first team go out there, let them execute some plays, kind of get into a rhythm and what they can expect during the season. But with the injury bug being hitting them as hard as it has in that first game, maybe you do consider not playing them, but yes, it's crazy right now. They even hurt a lot.
JB, Alan W in the chat says Mahomes is most likely to play a quarter. Would you want to see how our new secondary looks against them? Is there maybe a position group that you would be okay playing, or where do you stand?
I wouldn't mind the secondary. I really wouldn't. Honestly.
Especially the young guys.
Especially the young guys. And I know Andy Reid is big on trying to play starters a lot during the preseason. At least get a quarter run through. But the injury bug does concern me a little bit much. But given from practice the other day, these guys are feisty. They want to get out there and play and actually start hitting and actually make contact with a lot of other players. It's one thing to go against your own team at the same time, but once you get another team out there, it's completely different. They are hungry and they want some action right now. But at the same time, I know Dan Campbell's concern of chilling out on all these injuries. We just had 2 concussions this past previous and a couple of injuries as well too, lower legs and everything. So it's you kind of want to ease everyone into it, but at the same time, as the season starts to ramp up, injuries are just going to continue to pile up. You're going to get banged up more and more. I would at least try and get a few starters out there during a first quarter, and then that's it. Pull everyone else, but other than that, no go.
Yeah, I largely agree with that as well. Get them used to NFL hits, get them used to understanding what the game feels like, that speed where there's somebody coming to take your head off. Not like with the training camp practices where Dan Campbell, he puts a lot of value on what they get out of that, but there's a little bit different to rest when that the defensive end he's trying to sack you, not just run up to you. They count that as a sack, and then you still complete the play.
Right.
Like, I do want to see them in that type of environment just so they can be ready. I don't think that they take over any momentum, but we're never going to sit here and say that practice and doesn't translate to games. So it would be cool to see them, but ultimately health. And then that's where it gets tricky, because if you're not going to have Jared Goff play, who to me is the most important person to keep safe, then what does that do for your wide receivers? Do you run Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and J-Mo out there? Are you even going to get the proper reps?
What it means is Nate Sudfeld is playing 4 quarters.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
And that's what I'm
that's
saying.
a
It doesn't make
sad
any sense. So
moment.
then it's just like rest the first team offense. The defense, yeah, I do want to see a little bit more out of them. I would like to see them because they're a new unit. This offense, largely, you're talking the top 6 players on offense, I'm very, very comfortable with.
Yeah.
Very comfortable with, whether I see them in preseason or not. But on the defensive side, which was a very, very interesting question by you, I do. And I like what JB said, wanting to see that secondary. The defensive
Alan
line,
W. Shout out
rest
Alan
those
W.
guys. Yeah. But, yeah, I like that, man.
So Nate Sudfeld, 4 quarters. That's where we're going next.
Jesus Christ, no.
They are, and maybe even something's been announced this morning. Let me know. They're considering bringing in a quarterback. And
They need to.
If they do, we would probably learn about it today, if not like any minute now.
Yep.
I think they should.
You were ahead of the curve.
I think they should. It's just whether
What?
they sign someone.
Nate,
They
your guy,
have
man.
they have to bring in somebody.
Yeah.
They have to.
Yeah.
It might not have to be Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah,
who I don't
Yeah,
like
right,
anybody,
right.
but he's at the top of the market.
I know,
Will
yeah.
probably cost you $10 million. I'm not into that, but I think they need to sign somebody. Whether it's Case Keenum, who also via trade, Case Keenum might be available. He's the 3rd stringer on the Texans.
Yeah.
CJ Beathard, 3rd stringer on Jacksonville. We talked about Heineke. Jake Hayner, who's 2nd string on New Orleans, and he's decent. Spencer Rattler's actually playing pretty good as a rookie, so maybe they're willing to give up Hayner, Sam Ellinger, Mike White, second string on Miami, or the Tannehills, Trevor Simeons, Brian Hoyer, Kellen Mond, Blaine Gabbert, A.J. McCarron. None of the names excite me.
Horrible.
But I think they need somebody, because Hooker, he's in concussion protocol, likely not going to practice many or any days this week, and likely not play on Saturday.
Najee in the chats goes, Carson Wentz in all caps, LFG.
He's the backup. Is he in San Francisco?
I thought he got picked up, yeah.
He's
I
in
think he's
KC,
number
I
2 in
believe.
San
KC.
Francisco.
Yeah, he's in KC.
Oh, Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yep.
I see. If they have him as a number, they value their backup quarterback big time, so they're
True.
not getting rid of him. I thought about like Josh Dobbs in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He's way too smart for San Francisco to let go to a NFC rival.
The question is, do you trade or do you just wait for maybe some roster cuts, man? Because I just don't know about risking any capital to go get a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
I do understand the need that we have, trust me, but I mean, Hendon Hooker will come back out of concussion protocol. To me, he is your QB2. I've seen enough, just from how he looked in that first preseason game. Want to see more, but I think you have your QB2. It's just all about getting a more experienced QB3 to sit behind Hooker and to maybe help out if needed.
Yeah, that's the thing, and I don't know what you guys think. I saw enough out of Hooker where it might not be pretty from day one, but he's going to be that number 2.
Oh, yeah. Definitely
I
comfortable with
liked
that.
him, even just small sample size.
Yeah.
It's like once he gets his reps in, which are why this is important and it sucks that he's hurt,
Yeah.
he's going to be that dude. So it is really like someone to just hold down the fort.
Somebody to help these other wide receivers get these reps. We're sitting here trying to figure out what's the 3, the 4, the 5. What is the wide receiver depth looking like? Obviously, Amon-Ra, St. Brown, J-Mo, those guys, sit off to the sideline. But everybody else, I would like to see these guys get real reps with a quarterback who can get them the ball. I'm a little bit disappointed because that was the, probably my biggest question mark entering training camp was what was happening behind Amon-Ra, St. Brown and Jameson Williams and obviously Khalif Raymond. And we're not really getting the answers right now.
And you know what? Sean Hart brought up a good point in the chat, or Sean Hart, he says Hooker needs to work with the Tigers on sliding. And that, aside from that comment, I think us as a network and many Lions fans, I think we have to take this one on the chin for ripping on Caleb Williams and the Bears and their slip and slide on Hard Knocks. We ripped on them for it.
Yeah.
I'm still gonna hate
And
on
really, our quarterback should have been the one working on his slipping and sliding.
Yeah.
So I blame us. I'll take accountability for that.
I
I didn't
do-
make the post, but I'll take accountability.
I do understand though that first game and you're jacked up, and you're out there trying to make sure people know, like, I'm here.
Yeah.
But obviously, no more. Because we saw the special flashes. And this was him with the second and third team offense around him. It's not like he was out there playing with Sam Laporta, David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and J-Mo. And he looked good. And the element that he brings to the game with his feet, he instantly made a difference in that game. You saw a change in that offense over what Nate Sudfeld brought to the table prior. So it's like, I'm comfortable with him being a quarterback too. I'm just hoping sometime soon, they're able to bring something to the table to at least help the rest of the guys that need to get real reps, get them their work.
Yeah, KG, last question to you.
Yeah.
To me, and it's at what point in the season this becomes serious, but at some point, if Jared Goff has to go to the locker room and get an x-ray, or he's got to miss a game, you're deep in the season fighting for the NFC North title, or you're in the playoffs fighting for the NFC championship. Like, do you trust Hendon Hooker, or when will you trust Hendon Hooker to be able to come in and, I would say, even just hold down the fort, not regress, keep the offense at least moving forward?
Well, it's not a priority until it is. It's always that. Thankfully, Goff has been a quarterback who's been durable. He hasn't got hit a lot, and that's, of course, evidence of how good our offensive line is. But, I mean, the kid got to come in eventually. Yeah. I just feel like, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. He may not be the most ready right now. Of course, he hasn't had any real NFL snaps. But I trust in the ability. I trust in Ben Johnson to draw up the offense to be able to cater to some of the strengths that he has. And let's just wing it, man. I mean, if Goff goes down for more than a game or multiple games, then your season's kind of in jeopardy regardless.
Already,
So it is what it is at this point. I just don't know about spending a whole bunch of capital or paying a whole bunch of money for a backup quarterback that you may not even need, hence Teddy Bridgewater last year.
Because they might want that capital free for a topic in Overreaction Monday that I have coming up. Because there's some rumors flying around. Last comment from D Jones _Glow. The Lions can sign me for half of what they gave Sudfeld. I'm pretty sure I can go out there and get sacked every play.
For real. I can complete a pass. I know that. So.
Seriously.
Jeez. Where's Uncle Rico when you need him?
They need to trim him. He needs a trim. He needs to go to someplace wicked awesome.
Hey, you know what? This is so crazy. The Detroit Lions. We're still talking about a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
During Super Bowl expectations, but it's a real thing.